Okay, and here is question number 18. I'm going to make a separate video for this one and the Penguin Puzzler. This one's important because it's been a while. We started the year doing this, so it's been a while. So let's just refresh our memories about proportions and figures, right? It says here that Miss Huang and her little sister Sophia visited the elephants at Woodland Park Zoo over Thanksgiving break. At the time they were visiting the elephants, Sophia had a shadow that was 15 feet long. Okay, that means the sun was shining down on her at a particular angle of the day at that time, and it was casting a shadow. And one of the elephants cast a shadow, and this is at the same time, so the sun is in the same position, and it casts a shadow that's 52.5 feet long. If we draw these both out, we could see that we're probably talking about similar figures here. Right? These angles are the same. These angles are the same, which means that this other angle, the third angle, will also be the same, which means that these figures are going to be similar. Okay, so the question is, how tall is the elephant? What's the height of the elephant? So if we're talking about similar figures here, we're going to be talking about making a proportion. So I'm going to, I know we can't go back and read the problem, which is a little bit difficult, but just roll with me for a second here. I'm going to say there is Sophia's height over her shadow. And put a little S there to know that that's the shadow. And here's the elephant's height. We do not know that. And it's going to be over its shadow of 52.5 feet. And these are proportionate. So we can know that if I multiply 5 by some factor, it will be the same as this factor. The problem is that 52.5 isn't divisible by 5, so I'm going to have trouble figuring out what that factor is. I'm going to do a little estimating here, though. 15, I know 15 times 3 is 45, so that would be too small. 15 times 4 would be 60, so that's too big. I know that I'm going to guess that the factor is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4. So up here I'm going to think that this elephant is somewhere between 3 and 4. Don't mistake that for a fraction, I'm sorry. It's going to be somewhere between 3 and 4 times taller than Miss Huang's sister. Now, I could just try and crank out the division here. I could say, all right, what is 52.5 divided by 15? And I can figure it out, but let's see if we can use a cross-multiplication strategy. Right? I'm going to switch colors here real quick. Remember, what we can say is that 15 times x, right? 15 times x is going to be equal to 52.5 times 5. And I happen to know that that's 262.5. Right, so here we have another missing multiplier problem. Right, this is, and you might say, well, Mr. Meyer, is that so different than doing 52.5 divided by 15 and finding the scale factor? No, not really. We would have, once we found the factor, we'd have to do an extra step with this strategy. So I'm gonna work with this. This will give me the actual answer for x. Okay, so both of these would work, but this method is more interesting to me. So let's go ahead and throw it in here, 262.5. And the reason I'm putting that inside the house is because I want to know what, right, something, here's my x up here, something times 15 is 262.5, and I'm wondering what that something is. So if I start to divide, it'll look like this. 1 times 15 is 15, and I'm going to get a 5, and a 2, and a 1, and a 1, and that turns out to be 7. 7 times 15 is 105. And if I subtract that, I'm going to get 5. Oh, there's the penguins. 0, 12, 75. And that last number is going to be a 5. 5 times 15 is 75. So it turns out that x, right, 15 times, I know it's confusing when I put the multiplication symbol there, I should write it like that, 15 times 17 and a half, right? So x is 17 and a half. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to write it in here, right? There we go. It's 17.5. Let me get rid of all these blue marks here, or try anyway. And let's go back and check and see if that makes sense, right? Initially, we told ourselves, well, I felt that the shadow was about between 3 and 4 times bigger, right? 15 times 3 point something was 52.5. And we can check here. 5 times 3 would be 15. That would be too small. 5 times 4 would be 20. That would be too big. So it does check out, right? It turns out the elephant actually is between 3 and 4 times bigger than Sophia. And if I want to know exactly what that scale factor is, I mean, I don't anymore. I mean, I feel like I found the answer to how tall the elephant is. But if you did the other way, it would have to come out like this. You'd have to do 15 times, see, 3 is 45, and we'd end up with 5, 6, 75. That would be 3.15 goes into 75. What do we say? 5 times 3.5, right? Oh, it's right in between there. So we know that that scale factor is 3.5. My pen is bailing on me here. 3.5. And if we found that, then you'd have to go back and do the multiplication 5 times 3.5 to get the correct answer for the elephant. So if you do it with this strategy, it's 2 steps. If you do it with this strategy, it's 1 step. This one will just give you the height. This one will give you the scale factor. Right? So that's an important idea also. So there you are. Great. Have a great time, everyone. I'll see you on Monday.